Not everyone who's broke looks broke. Some of them earn six figures and some own homes, drive good cars, and post from nice restaurants. Because broke isn't one kind of person, it's six. And the most common types are almost impossible to spot from the outside. Because the people living them are usually the last ones to admit it. So here is every type of broke person and how to tell which one you're actually looking at. The paycheck to paycheck broke. These are people who earn a full, steady income and still reach the end of every month with nothing left. You almost certainly know one, the coworker with the solid job title and the nice apartment, who somehow still can't float $20 until Friday. They aren't unemployed and they aren't reckless. Most of them work hard, pay their bills on time, and look completely financially normal from the outside. What defines them isn't how much they make, is that every dollar is already spoken for before it even lands. And in today's economy, this type has quietly climbed the income ladder. Groceries alone are up almost 30% since 2020. And according to a Goldman Sachs report, around 40% of people earning over $500,000 a year now describe themselves exactly this way. That's the strange thing about the paycheck to paycheck person. A bigger salary rarely lifts them out of the category. It just moves the day their account hits zero a little later into the month. They aren't defined by poverty, they're defined by the total absence of margin, the same thin edge that leaves roughly half of all Americans unable to cover a surprise $1,000 bill. The lifestyle creep broke. These are people whose spending quietly rises to swallow every raise they have ever received. Hand them more money. And within a year, the nicer apartment, the upgraded car, and a dozen small everyday luxuries have absorbed all of it, leaving them exactly as stretched as before, just at a higher altitude. The clearest example of this type is MC Hammer. At his peak, he earned around $33 million, closer to $70 million in today's money. And he spent it about as fast as it came in. A mansion with solid gold gates that read Hammer Time. 17 cars, racehorses, a private jet, and a 200-person entourage that reportedly cost him up to $1 million a month. By 1996, the money was gone, and he filed for bankruptcy, roughly $13 million in debt. The lifestyle creep person almost never feels reckless in the moment, because every single upgrade is small and easy to justify on its own. That's exactly what makes the type so hard to escape. They're defined by one relentless pattern. No matter how much comes in, the lifestyle always grows just fast enough to leave nothing behind. And it isn't only rappers. That same Goldman survey found the identical creep hollowing out earners in every bracket above them. The debt treadmill broke. These are people who work hard every single month not to get ahead, but simply to keep up with what they already owe. Their money is gone before it arrives, swallowed by minimum payments on balances that never seem to move. And right now, this is one of the largest groups in America. Households owe roughly $1.2 trillion on credit cards, near an all-time record, at an average interest rate north of 20%, high enough that the interest quietly refills the hole faster than most people can shovel it out. Credit card delinquencies recently hit their highest level in about 15 years, and even car payments. Historically, the last bill anyone is willing to skip are being missed at the highest rate in roughly 3 decades. The debt treadmill person is easy to mistake for responsible because they never actually stop paying. But every dollar they earn is already promised to a past version of themselves who spent it first. They're defined by motion without progress, running flat out month after month, doing everything right, and still looking up to find themselves standing in exactly the same place they started. The time broke. These are people who have money, sometimes a great deal of it, and almost no life left in which to spend it. To keep pace with rising costs, they solved the problem the obvious way. They added income, the promotion, then the second stream, then the side project that quietly ate every weekend. And it worked. The bank balance looks perfectly healthy. The calendar, meanwhile, looks like a hostage situation. These are the people everyone around them calls driven, ambitious, successful, which is precisely why the time broke person so rarely notices what they've traded away. They have carefully purchased a life they are now far too busy to actually live in. On paper, they are winning. In practice, their wealth exists only as a number on a statement and nowhere at all inside their actual week. The time broke person is defined by a quiet inversion of the usual problem. They didn't run out of money. They ran out of the one thing the money was supposed to buy them in the first place. The scarcity broke. These are people who have money and still feel poor. They have the savings, the cushion, the emergency fund, the numbers that would let most people finally exhale. And they still move through life braced for disaster, usually because at some earlier point they genuinely lived through one. History's clearest example is Hetty Green. In the early 1900s, she was considered the richest woman in America, worth over $100 million billions in today's money. And she lived as though she were destitute, wearing the same black dress until it fell apart, reportedly refusing to pay for hot water, and haggling over pennies while sitting on one of the largest fortunes of the age. Historians still argue over whether that was a broken relationship with money or ice-cold financial discipline, and that argument is exactly the point. The scarcity broke person is defined not by their bank balance, but by a mind still living inside a poverty the account moved past years ago. It is the one type on this entire list that earning more money simply cannot fix. You can out-earn almost every other kind of broke. This one, you have to outthink, the invisible broke. And this is the type almost nobody can see often, including the person living it. These are people with a decent salary, clothes that fit the part perfectly, and a life that photographs beautifully, all of it sitting on top of a savings account close enough to zero that a single unplanned event could bring the whole thing down. And they are everywhere right now. Behind the appearances, surveys keep finding six-figure earners quietly flying economy, switching to discount grocery stores, and cancelling subscriptions to keep funding the image they show in public. The national savings rate has slipped to around 4%. The invisible broke person is the most dangerous type to be, precisely because nothing feels wrong until the exact moment everything is a car that won't start, a medical bill, one slow month of work, and the entire structure collapses at once. And the cruelest part is how alone they are inside it, because they look far too okay for anyone to actually believe them. Which is exactly why, out of all six, this is quietly the type the most people are living in right now, still completely convinced this video was about somebody else.